What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome into episode 30. I am your host, SleezBall. Today's episode is going to be my top 30 tied in rankings heading into week one. But before I break down how the video is going to go, guys, make sure you smash that like and subscribe. All the support has been appreciated, whether you're listening on Spotify, Apple, or watching on YouTube. You guys have been absolutely amazing. I can't thank you enough. And if you have any questions, fantasy football, that doesn't have to be related to this video at all, drop them in the comments. I'm here to help you win your matchups weekly and get you that ultimate goal of that trophy. Now, for this video, I am going to be using last year's points per game against the tight end position for a defense. Now, I know the defenses have changed since 2023. I will throw the pieces that teams have added, drafted, stuff like that, so you can see that as well and how I'd rank it differently. And I'm only going to use this for week one. So when it comes to my week two rankings, you know, I'm not going to be using 2023 stats. I'll be using the actual stats that happened in week one. Now, let's get it going. All right, guys, so here is my board layout. You're going to see the ballers tier at the top. That's my ballers for the week. You're going to see tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5. I'm going to go all the way down to my top 30 tight ends in a row. And we're going to start it off right where it left off last year with the tight end 1, Sam Laporta. No, Sam Laporta, as a rookie last year, was the tight end 1, which is absolutely bonkers. I don't ever see this happening again, probably in our lifetime, with how crazy that was. So, averaged 14.1 points per game last year, which was number 3 tight end, but injuries happened. And, you know, Travis Kelce missed a couple games at the beginning of the season, and then TJ Hawkinson missed time, and Mark Andrews got time. So, he was the tight end 1. So, a lot of things fell into place for that to happen. I firmly believe that will never happen again. But week one, he gets the absolute smash matchup play here. The LA Rams. If you watched any of my videos before, my wide receiver, running back rankings, whatever it is, you have to start every single player, every single week that is a key player against the Rams. Their defense is going to be the worst in the league. If not, the Cardinals are right next to them. So it's a smash start. The Rams defense last year even, and the defense got worse. Last year, they allowed the 28th most points to the tight end position. This is an absolute smash play right here. No doubt about it. Now, heading on to what I just said about the Arizona Cardinals, my number 2 tight end of the week is Dalton Kincaid. And why? He gets the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals defense ranks 32nd versus secondary. They rank 16th. And you got to look at it like this as well. The Bills lose Stephon Diggs. They lose Gabe Davis. That's about 235 vacated targets. They bring in Keon Coleman, a rookie. They get Curtis Samuel back with Joe Brady. And they have Khalil Shakir, who everyone seems to think he's going to break out. I'm not fully on it. It is going to be the Dalton Kincaid show all the way. He is their wide receiver 1, but he is a tight end, and I absolutely love him this week. Number 3 is going to be the guy that is so underrated in drafts. It is Evan Ingram. Now, Evan Ingram was tight end 2 last year and is still getting drafted around tight end 8 or 9, which is bonkers to me. Now, he gets the Miami Dolphins on the road at Miami, but Miami's strong suit is their front line and their corners. So they can be beat at the tight end position. This is where they're ranked 23rd. This is where Evan Ingram is going to feast. I know he's had some trouble in the red zone the last couple of years. I expect it to change this year. He only had 2 touchdowns. I think he's in for a monster year, and I have him at tight end number 3. Tight end number 4 we're going to talk about is Travis Kelce here. And this one, we're just going to do them both here. I have Mark Andrews at 6, and they're all part of the baller tier. So Travis Kelce going up. This is a bloodbath Thursday night football opening game here. These are 2 top 10 defenses, 2 top 10 secondaries. This is going to be absolutely lights out. So for Travis Kelce's situation, this is the Ravens' weak point of their defense is their linebackers. They rank 12th. But if I look at Mark Andrews' side and the Chiefs ranked 3rd last year against the tight end. So this is going to be an absolute bloodbath, and you know they're going to focal point on these guys, right? These teams have played each other enough. They know that Mark Andrews is going to be the key factor. They know that Travis Kelce is going to be the key factor. Does that stop them from starting them? No, but it is there in the coaching minds. I have them at 4 and 6 this week. I did lower them below these other guys because I think their opportunities are going to be more than their matchup this week. At number 5 in the middle, this one pains me, man, because I have Trey McBride as my tight end 1 this season, but he gets a brutal matchup week 1. He goes at Buffalo, Buffalo's defense last year versus tight end was number 6 in points per game, so they were very, very good. They got even better this offseason, and now it's one of those West Coast traveling East Coast early games. They never go well. I love Trey McBride so much. He's still in my ballers tier, but God, I want to put him at 1 because I know he's going to explode this season. I just don't like the matchup that well this week for him, but still I have him at number 5. So it shows you how high I'm on this guy, even though the matchup is bad. Heading down to tier 1 out of the ballers tier, it is going to be Kyle Pitts. Yes, I said it. Kyle Pitts is my tight end 7. And it's tough, man, because I know Kirk Cousins is there. I know he feeds his tight end. He is 35. He's coming off an Achilles. They get a great matchup as well versus Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh last year gave up the 27th most points to the tight end. But you got to remember that Pittsburgh was in shambles last year. Their offense didn't even get a yard, so their defense was on the field way more. So that number is definitely skewed. They had an amazing draft. It's going to be a tougher matchup than it looks like when I'm saying that Pittsburgh defense is 27th versus points. But it's a wait and see for me because I'm kind of on board with Kyle Pitts this year, and I haven't been in a while. And if it's not this year, then when, right? I mean, he's got to break here at some point. His talent is too good, and I like him at number 7 this week. Heading to my tight end at number 8, it is going to be Kittle, Diddle, down the middle. Now, this matchup right here. So he's going against the Jets, Monday Night Football. All the bright lights. Kittle shines in Monday Night Football, by the way. And here's the plus side to this matchup. I almost put him in tier 1. The Jets defensive line, 3rd. The Jets corners, 1st. Secondary, 3rd. Linebackers, 25th. And now that Ayuk is signed and you have Debo on the other side, you could even throw Ricky Pearsall in there if you want, if he plays. We don't know how this guy's been hurt all goddamn offseason. CMC back there. I'm not worried about the calf. This is where he can feast because this is their weak spot, and they can't tee off on one player because there's too many weapons for San Francisco. I think George Kittle is going to absolutely eat week 1 versus the Jets, and I love him as my tight end 8 this week. Heading down to number 9 here, and this is my favorite tight end to build your roster around this season if you're drafting, right? So I like him in round 8, round 9. This is the best value at tight end to me. I've been saying this every video. I'm going to repeat it again because I love Jake Ferguson so much this year. Now, Jake Ferguson gets a tough matchup. He gets Cleveland. They're 10th against the tight end last year. Their defense is ranked number 1 to me. They're like number 4 to PFF. I love Cleveland defense. They're on the road. You're going to have CeeDee Lamb off a holdout who he's not going to be fully back yet. You can say he has the chemistry with Dak, all that. Yeah, but you still need the practice reps. You still need to get out there. This is where Ferguson could absolutely feast in this game with targets because the Dallas Cowboys lost 2-star linemen. They lost Smith and Biadasz. And then now their running back situation is Rico Dowdle, Zeke Elliott, and Dalvin Cook, right? Ugh. This is going to be a full-blown pass attack. It's just a bad matchup. Otherwise, I'd have Jake Ferguson in my elite tier. I love Jake so much this season. It's just going to be a rough matchup to start. Number 10 in tier 1, my last guy in tier 1 is going to be Dallas Goedert. Now, we don't even know if he's going to play yet. I think he's going to play through this oblique injury that he has. It says he hasn't practiced yet. He'll probably be out there next week. I'm not too worried about obliques. It hasn't really held any players back in the past before. Now, with Dallas Goedert, you're getting the Kellen Moore offense, which is top 5 paced. They're going at Green Bay. Green Bay last year's weak spot was the tight end. They were 31st versus the tight end. That's almost dead last. They have to worry about A.J. Brown. They have to worry about Devonta Smith. They have to worry about Jahan Dotson, Jalen Hurts running, Saquon Barkley. There is a lot of target share problems to think about, but I find Dallas Goedert finding pay dirt in this game 100% because this is the Packers' weak spot. Heading down to number 11 here in tier 2. That's it for tier 1, guys. And this one I want to talk about for a minute here. David Njoku. So David Njoku gets the Cowboys at home. The Cowboys were 13th versus the tight end last year. There was a lot of injuries last year. The Cowboys defense is better than that versus the tight end. Now, with David Njoku, I did a very, very deep dive research into this because he won championships last year down the stretch. He was absolutely bonkers with Joe Flacco. So when he had Joe Flacco at quarterback, he averaged 8.2 targets per game. Now, so I'm like, okay, I got to look back at Deshaun Watson's career here. So Deshaun Watson, since the beginning of the Houston Texans, and I know his tight ends, you can make this argument, are not as athletic or good as David Njoku. That's facts, right? But still, volume is there, and you have to look at the numbers. Deshaun Watson has only targeted his tight ends at a 4.1 average in his career. So I'm very, very interested and kind of worried to see how it's going to play out with Njoku. I like his value still. I think it's right where it should be, but I don't think he's going to have that monster breakout like last season where Flacco was just feeding him targets. It's going to be tough. I just have to wait and see. That's why I have him in tier 2. Next is the rookie phenom Brock Bowers at number 12. And I used to have him a lot lower. And let me get this out here first. So they played at LA Chargers. The Chargers were 14th versus the tight end last year. And last year, the Raiders targeted the tight end at the second least in the NFL. Now, new OC comes in. He targets the tight end a lot. But they also have Michael Mayer. And I was really worried until I saw the preseason. And I was like, oh my God, they are lining this guy up. Tight end, inline, X, Y, running back. They're going to use him all over. I absolutely love the Brock Bowers pick. And this is where I make my cutoff in NFL drafts at tight end right here. Should be your target line right here. You could throw in Pat Freiermuth if you want. Actually, let's go to the next. We'll go Pat Freiermuth. So this is my cutoff spot for the tight ends. These are the guys I want to draft within the first 10 rounds. Otherwise, you're punting tight end. So Pat Freiermuth now is in a situation that people do not understand. And let me break it down for you why I like Pat Freiermuth so much this year. So he goes at Atlanta. They were 21st versus the tight end. Atlanta's defense is ranked 26, but they just picked up 2 great free agents, which will probably boost all their stats on defense. So don't really look at it yet. And now you have Arthur Smith as the OC, right? What did Arthur Smith do last year with Atlanta? He used Jonnu Smith and Kyle Pitts. They were both top 17 tight ends with about 600 yards and 3 touchdowns each. And I'm not reading any stats, guys. I just know these things. It's very weird. Now, you're in Pittsburgh. Is Darnell Washington even close to a Jonnu Smith usage last season? No, he is not. This is going to be more of a Pat Freiermuth volume as the second option behind Pickens than people think. And I absolutely love this pick this season. This is why this is my cutoff point. And I'm going to leave him right where he's at here at number 13 in week 1. Number 14, Hunter Henry. My God. I don't even know if he's going to be out there week 1. The injuries look really, really sketch. But let's talk about it like he is, right? So it's kind of up in the air. It says he's iffy for week 1, so I don't know yet. And when I'm recording this video, I don't know either. So I don't want to throw it out there. So right now, the Patriots situation, Alex Van Pelt, the new OC, right? They get Ramondre Stevenson locked up. This offense is going to be really bad. They're going to be playing from behind 90% of the games, let's say. I mean, Vegas has them at 4.5 wins. I'd say maybe 5 if they get lucky. I don't see them winning a ton of games. This is kind of a dumpster fire year for the Patriots. But what do you get when that happens? You have your field general leader. The only old veteran on the team is Hunter Henry. They have Jalen Polk in the draft, Javon Baker in the draft, KJ Osborne, Kendrick Bourne on IR. He's going to be the focal point. And I know Jacoby Brissett's the quarterback. I don't like the journeyman. I want to see Drake May out there because rookie quarterbacks love their security blanket, and Hunter Henry is going to see a ton of volume this year. He probably leads the Patriots in receptions, and he's drafted so late, it's bananas. So he's the end of my tier 2. Heading down to tier 3 here, it is going to be Dalton Schultz. And this whole section right here is the tough part for me. And this is where ranking tight ends get really hard. So Dalton Schultz, you could say last season, yeah, he did okay. He averaged 10 points a game. He was tied in 11, right? But now you have so much target share in the backfield between Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins, Tank Dell. They're all going to probably get about 25%. Joe Mixon's a great pass catching back as well. He's so touchdown dependent weekly. It's going to be crazy. He's probably like 4 receptions a game, and he needs to score to make your tight end spot relevant. But I have him at number 16 because he's still got the talent. There's just so much to go around, and I don't like it. Number 17 is the jack of all trades, the scariest start in fantasy football history. But if it hits big, baby. And it is Taysom Hill. And they said they've been using him all over camp, and everyone's seen the updates, and everyone's trying to pick him up, thinking they're going to use him all over the field. But the one thing you forget is all those updates came when Juwan Johnson was hurt. So I don't know how it's going to look. Juwan Johnson is back for week 1. I know that Kendre Miller's out. They might use some goal line packages with Taysom Hill and with Jamal Williams. he's just such a scary start. That's why I'm putting him in the middle of the field, because he either goes big or he goes home with a 0. So he's always that scary start. But if you don't have like any of these tight ends, like I said, up to Pat Freiermuth, I'm okay starting Taysom Hill and taking the shot. Heading down to number 17, Cade Otton. So Cade Otton was running wind sprints all last year. They get they get Washington this week. Washington's defense is terrible, but where Washington is strong at was versus the tight end. They only allowed the 8th most points. Imagine all the points they gave up, and tight ends didn't score against Washington. That's pretty crazy to me. Now, new offensive coordinator, Dave Canales, is out of town. They bring in Liam Cohen, and you still got Chris Godwin. You still got Mike Evans. They bring in Jalen McMillan. You got Rashad White. He's a great pass-catching back. He's such a scary start. I mean, if it's like a deep league, maybe I'm excited to start him. Or if I lose one of my top 5 tight ends, he's an okay, replacement, but not great. We got to see how it plays out first. I'm not. The rest of these guys, these are all tough. So I'm just going to say that now. And this is really hard to rank, so bear with me. But Cade Otton, I'm going to leave at 17. Number 18, here we go again, just like Dalton Schultz. And Cole Kmet was tight end 7 last year, guys. 7. So Cole Kmet gets Tennessee. The Titans' defense was awful, but the Titans were 4th best versus the tight end. And that, could be Vrabel defense, Belichick, Patriot style kind of thing there. Yeah, you could say that. But now you got DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, DeAndre Swift, great pass-catching back, just like Dalton Schultz. This makes Cole Kmet a touchdown-dependent tight end. And scary shot, man. I've dropped him so much. I'm not even comfortable starting him. Let's be honest. All the rest of these guys, these are all dart, lucky tight end dependent throws. But we still got to go to the rankings. So I'm going to leave him at 18. Number 19, and this one's interesting. Noah Fant. So if I had to choose a dart throw tight end DFS play, fantasy football play of the week, it would be Noah Fant. And I know this guy has done nothing in his career. I mean, you can look at it however you want. Like, let me go over here. Let's see what he did last year. I'm going to pull it up real quick if I can, fast enough. He averaged 4.6 points per game last season. But now you get Ben Grubb coming in as the Washington offensive coordinator, from Washington College offensive coordinator for Seattle. They've looked electric, and he's keyed on. If you guys watch Coach Speak Index or into the interviews, he's keyed on that Noah Fant will be a big part of this offense, which that right there is interesting. Now, why I like him as my dart throw in week 1, here it is. The Denver Broncos gave up the most points in the NFL to the tight end position last year, and they got worse, boys. This could be that sneaky tight end play. I'm not comfortable at all. I'm just saying if there's any statistics that point to a good dart throw shot, this is it, right? That's it. I'm not high on it. It's very tough with Noah Fant. He hasn't done anything to prove me to say that. But if I had a dart throw, it would be him. Number 21 is going to be Jonnu Smith. Now, I just talked about him at the Falcons. And this one is another interesting one as well as a dart throw. And he could be a great dart throw weekly because he's very athletic and can pop. Now, the Dolphins get Jacksonville Jaguars at home. They're 24th worst versus the tight end. Now, you have Tyreek Hill. You have Jalen Waddle, Achane, Mostert, all these weapons, right? OBJ's not out there. You're probably going to see Malik Washington. He's on the pup. So you're telling me that Jonnu Smith cannot run free with all these guys? You'd be crazy. It's just tough because last year the Dolphins had Durham Smythe out there just running wind sprints, man. He never got a catch. He was absolutely awful. Now, Jonnu Smith is way more athletic than him, yes, by a mile. But still, it's tough to see right now because I haven't seen the Dolphins use a tight end in a minute. That's why I have him low. I like his athletic ability a lot more than the guys ranked above him. I just haven't seen it yet. Number 22 is going to be Jawan Johnson, sticking with the Taysom Hill idea here. You know, he's not going to rush the ball like Taysom, but Jawan could be a sleeper TD-dependent tight end. But the Panthers are 7th best versus the tight end last year. The Panthers went all offense in the draft, though. We know that. So I don't think their defense, I think, ranked like 25th, 26th PFF as a total. But they were good versus the tight end. I could see Jawan maybe getting a touchdown this game. It's tough. We're in the nitty-gritty of tight ends. but I'm going to leave Jonnu Smith at 22. Number 23 is going to be Luke Musgrave. And this one was also hard as well because you have 4 wide receivers in Green Bay and Tucker Kraft is good. So he got injured last year. He was off to an okay start when it started. It kind of, fizzled out. And then Tucker Kraft averaged like 6 points a game as well. So, where's Luke Musgrave pulled up? Musgrave was 6.8 and Tucker Kraft was 5.6. So, to each his own there, but now the weapons are better. I don't like the start here. Maybe dart throw DFS if you get a touchdown dependent Luke Musgrave, but the weapons are so many. It's tough. Number 24 is going to be Tyler Conklin. Now, everyone overlooks this guy all the time, right? Tyler Conklin had terrible quarterback play last year, still had 600 yards, didn't find the end zone much because they never found the red zone much. The Jets were terrible. Now, if Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy, this guy might be a guy where if I lose my starting tight end, I lose Evan Ingram or I lose George Kittle, God forbid, to an injury or some reason, this would probably be the guy I'd go pick up just based on volume because he's had 600 yards in his past 3 out of his 4 seasons. That's not bad numbers. He's not great. It's not splashy. He could get a touchdown week here and get a 15, 16-point week. He could. But again, it's tough. I think Garrett Wilson shows going to be here. Mike Williams will be out there week 1. You're going to see Malachi Corley. Brees Hall's going to see a lot of catches at the backfield. I'm going to leave him at 24. My sleeper play for week 1. I've been calling for this guy for a couple years now. Is Greg the Dolchmeister Dulcich. Now, the Broncos are going to be playing 90% of their games from behind. They get the matchup at Seattle on the road. You're going to have rookie Bo Nix at the 12th man. It's going to be rocking. They're probably going to get smashed. But what happens when you get smashed? Garbage time, passing volume, from behind. Broncos are going to play 90% of their games this year from behind. And now you have to look at Jerry Jeudy out of town, 100 targets vacated. No really good wide receiver, too. You could say Marvin Mims is going to break out. Troy Franklin to match Bo Nix at the Oregon. They've drafted them both, brought that little duo in. Cortland Sutton's going to see a ton of volume. Tim Patrick is also gone. So, this could be a Greg Dulcich volume year if he can just stay healthy. And I'm going to start moving him up the rankings, I fear, after week 1. And he's one of my favorite late targets in draft. I've been tweeting about him forever. If you want to check out the Twitter, it's SleezBall FF, little plug right there. But I've loved Greg Dulcich for so much. People forget that he was the second best tight end out of college at the Mackey Award, and he just blew his hamstring. He was off to a great rookie start, and the hamstring popped, and he's already had a couple injuries again, and it's already nerve-wracking, I know. But if he can stay healthy and be out there, I'm telling you, he's going to be a great dart throw that I'm going to be moving up my board here. I know it. Number 26, down to tier 5. Interesting signing here. It was very weird to me. Colby Parkinson. So, gets a crazy contract from the Rams. This guy's never done anything in the NFL to even deserve the contract. He's a great blocker. Yeah, okay, that's fine. But the Rams are going to need to score points at will with how bad their defense is. He does get a good matchup at week 1 against Detroit. They're 22nd versus the tight end last year, but Detroit got a lot better in the draft as well. Again, this is dart throw shot here. You got to like a player in McVay's system that's going to be the starter because Higbee is going to be on the pup for the first 4, possibly 6 weeks. We don't know the final update yet. And Higbee's older anyways. If Parkinson lights it up earlier, I think he keeps the job. And we can see him moving up a little bit on the boards yet, but I just don't know yet, and I got to leave him here. Number 27, Chig Okonkwo. I don't understand this guy. I don't understand what's happening. They go at Chicago. They're 17th versus the tight end last year. He almost lost his job in camp. He hasn't done anything at all since his rookie year. But there's pluses and there's minuses to that, right? Obviously, the minuses are he gave you 0 production, and he averaged 6.7 points last year. Terrible, right? But the plus would be, to me, the only way to look at a plus in this situation would be that Derrick Henry is gone now. And their offensive line is very bad. And Will Levis is coming into his first full year as a starter, needs a security blanket. Could it be Chig Okonkwo, right? He's very athletic. He's good enough to get open. It just didn't happen. And it does a Derrick Henry ran offense where they just pound the run 24/7. That's a given. So that's the only plus I could come out with it is they have a bad offensive line. Will Levis will look for a security blanket. And possibly if Chig he gets some production, he could be out there. But for me right now, it's still tough. I'm leaving him at 27. 28. And man, if you draft Mark Andrews, you better be getting Isaiah Likely in the late rounds because we know Mark Andrews' injury history. Now, Isaiah Likely, updated. I have him at 28 right now because the matchup is brutal either way. They play the Chiefs. The Chiefs are number 3 versus the tight end. But there's been updates and reports out of camp already that Isaiah Likely is going to be the second option in the passing game for the Ravens. Like, what? So when Mark Andrews went down last year, this guy could put up 20-point games in a row. He is very good, guys. It's just he's behind Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews is healthy. I mean, like I said, if I'm drafting Mark Andrews, I'm 100% drafting Isaiah Likely late in the draft because you're getting a tight end 1 if Mark Andrews goes down. It's just right now I can't see enough volume. If he really is the second option, then I will move him up, but I need to see it play out first, and it's a brutal matchup. Number 29, Ja'Tavion Sanders, the rookie out of Texas. He gets the New Orleans Saints week 1. The Saints were number 16 versus the tight end at the Superdome. Now, here's my thing. I really like Ja'Tavion Sanders scouting his tape coming out. I watched a ton of it. I loved him at Texas. But at the landing spot, you're going to feel like it's great, but I'm going to tell you why I'm a little worried. So Dave Canales, the head coach or the offensive coordinator for Tampa Bay last year, the head coach of Carolina now, go back and look at anything that Cade Otton did last season. This is with Dave Canales running the offense. Cade Otton did absolutely nothing. He ran 97% of snaps. The number 1 snaps for tight end in the NFL was Cade Otton. And he didn't do shit. So Ja'Tavion Sanders, it worries me just because the system that Dave Canales ran, they have Xavier Legette, they have Adam Thielen, they have Mingo, they have, Chuba, they bring in Brooks. It's just going to be a Deontay Johnson crazy. That's what I was looking for. The targets can be tough to find for him. That's why I have him at the bottom. But, man, I really liked him coming out. Number 30, last but not least here, Theo Penn State Johnson. So, Danny Dimes is the quarterback, right? They get the Minnesota Vikings at home. The Vikings were 8th versus the tight end last year. This one's interesting because we don't know how much Bellinger and him are going to split, however it's going to work. I think Theo takes this. He looked a lot better than Bellinger did, just pure out of college. But again, like I said in my wide receiver video, Danny Dimes is the quarterback, man. And if you've watched anything in the preseason, there is nothing to like. I mean, this guy threw 3 picks in a freaking preseason game versus the 3rd and 4th strings. It's not good. Now, the volume will be there. Yes, this game is probably the only game they have. I'll say they are going to have a chance to win at maybe here is Minnesota at home opening night. The rest of the season, they're going to be playing from behind. It's going to be really ugly, but volume is king. And if they're playing from behind all the time, and let's say Neighbors becomes the 1, and they got to double up on Neighbors, he could become a viable option at points for garbage points. Playing from behind, he could be that. I have him at 30. I really want to see what happens with him, but I'm going to leave him at 30 for now. And that's it. I'm going to read it off for you guys that are listening on Spotify or Apple to get back to it, and I'll get to the closing statement. My ballers tier, Sam Laporta 1, Dalton Kincaid, Evan Ingram, Travis Kelce, Trey McBride, Mark Andrews. Tier 1, Kyle Pitts, George Pickens, Jake Ferguson, Dallas Goedert. Tier 2, David Njoku, Brock Bowers, Pat Freiermuth, Hunter Henry. Tier 3, Dalton Schultz, Taysom Hill, Cade Otton, Cole Kmet, Noah Fant. Tier 4, Jonnu Smith, Juwan Johnson, Luke Musgrave, Tyler Conklin, Greg Dulcich. Tier 5, Colby Parkinson, Chigakonkwo, Isaiah Likely, Ja'Tavion Sanders, and rounding it out with Theo Johnson. That is it for episode 30, guys. My tight end week 1 rankings. God damn, it is so tough to rank the bottom tier of the tight ends, man. It's like a crapshoot every time, but I'm going to keep doing it. Going to keep taking my stabs at it. Thank you guys for rocking with me today. Before we head out, guys, make sure you smash that like. Make sure you smash that subscribe. And again, any fantasy football comments or questions or anything you have, trades, stardoms, anything, I will be doing a live show before every kickoff game 2 hours before. So let's say next week, right? Thursday, 2 hours before. Friday, 2 hours before. Sunday, 2 hours before. Monday, 2 hours before. I am here to help you guys win that championship. And make sure you tune in for my next episode, which is going to be my defense and kicker rankings for week 1. That's it. SleezBall out.